Hello and welcome back to the Hype Bulletin, hosted by yours truly, Ralph Mentor. Let me just do this first. If you guys are watching on YouTube, please press on the subscribe button to help us to help support the podcast, I should say. And if you guys are listening on Apple, Spotify, or any other podcast platform, please leave us a rating to again help support the podcast. And for the new listeners from my partnership, my month partnership at least, with Overcast and all, I'd like to welcome y'all to the podcast too as well. I finally have a fresh episode for everybody at least and all. But if you guys want to visit those news listeners at least and all, please visit likeeaglellc.com to peep the magazine, peep other episodes of the podcast too as well, and a future product that I'm hoping to drop at the end of the summer and the beginning of the fall at least and all too as well. So please, please listen and welcome to the Hype Bulletin at least and all too as well. And to my listeners again, I'm so sorry for the hiatus. I said in season 2 I have less of them, and then I went traveling for 10 days, and I was not in the mood thanks to the weather. Good fun in Indianapolis and New York, but the weather back home, at least, not that I would have time to record there. The mood was definitely depressing with the weather over there, at least, and all, and without like my certain tools, and at least being back in Atlanta with my office, at least, it just doesn't feel the same. So I do apologize for my hiatus, at least, and all, but I am back. It wasn't because the Celtics got eliminated from the playoffs, why it took me so long to be back, at least, and all, but I am back, and yes, the Boston Celtics got eliminated by the New York Knicks in 6 games. Injuries all over the place, and I'll get into it while I discuss why I react, I should say, to the conference finals that are going on right now, too, as well. Great game last night, too, as well, with the Knicks and the Pacers there. Now the Pacers are up 3-1 on the New York Knicks and all, too, as well. I had love for them. I'm going to talk about them fans, too, as well, and all, but there is something I want to discuss before I dig deep into the NBA playoffs, at least. No, it's this NBA draft lottery that happened, I believe, when did this thing happen? May 10th or some shit like that? Yeah, something way back. Yeah, I am so behind. That's just for the podcast, at least, know how behind I am. When was the draft lottery? I don't know if I have the date on here. Of course, they have the date of the draft, which will be June 25th, the first round, and the second round will be on the 26th and all. But I believe it's like on May 10th and all. Now, we all know about the big trade that happened down in February, at least, with Luka Doncic going over to the Los Angeles Lakers and all. But I presume that the Dallas Mavericks would be all right, because I thought the Conchinipple could be the next great white hope right next to Cooper Flag, at least, and all, too, as well. But Dallas Mavericks ended up getting the number 1 pick of this year's draft with, ironically, Cooper Flag as your perennial or, outlandish number 1 pick, at least, unless someone wants to do something crazy this 25th of June, at least, and all. But they ended up getting the number 1 pick and all. I don't find it the atrocity of it all. I feel like the Philadelphia 76ers are the atrocity of them getting the 3rd pick and all, too, as well. We're talking about a team that has not hit on a draft pick since, in my opinion, Allen Iverson and all, because you may want to say Joel Embiid, and I'll grant you that. The guy's the MVP of the what season? The 2023 NBA season, at least? No, yeah, 2023 NBA season, also fair. Maybe he is a top-end pick, at least. No, but we're looking at a guy who hasn't been to the conference finals in any time of his career, and we got a guy being called Big Purr, is in his second back-to-back conference finals appearance and all. And even though the team is down 3-1, similarly to last year, showed up a shit ton more than Joel Embiid's ever showed up in the conference finals because he has played in one. So again, if people want to say Joel Embiid's been their best top draft pick, I highly disagree, and I give it to Allen Iverson, at least. No, this is a team that's had a whole bunch of number 1 picks over the past I'm saying 8 seasons and all, could be longer than that. When we're talking about Michael Carter-Williams, I heard a terrible story about him too as well, so praise for him, at least. No, I can't recollect exactly what the story was, but there was a bad news stories for him recently, at least. No, but you got Michael Carter-Williams, who was a dope rookie of the year, mind you, too, as well, but career didn't outlast to being an all-star caliber type of player, at least. And we're talking about Ben Simmons, and this man can't take a shot with the Clippers right now. Still taking in probably like close to $40 million, at least in all, too. Maybe 30 now. We're talking about that. We're talking about Markelle Fultz. And, I had a love for his game, too, as well. Honestly, I think the Philadelphia 76ers or other people did something to his shot, at least, and all that really backtracked his career, at least. But they missed on that, too, as well, honestly. And I mentioned Joel Embiid, too, as well. I feel like we got Nerlens Noel up in there as a top-end pick, too, as well. Jahlil Okafor as another player that's drafted and all. Now they got a solid thing at number 3 because projected-wise, it looks like Ace Bailey may be going is the third overall pick in this year's draft behind Dylan Harper. And Dylan Harper, yeah, from Rutgers, same school as Ace Bailey that went to Rutgers. And obviously Cooper Flagg, who's, I think just by far the number one pick and all. Throwing out like talent or anything like that too as well, because I do get the arguments of him not being the best talented player in this year's draft, at least, but you throw in the whole race thing too as well. And his talent is pretty damn dope too as well, honestly, especially at his size, at least, too as well. So he's like by far going to be the number one pick in this year's draft, at least, but for the 76ers, you finally have in my opinion, you finally have a hit at the number 3 pick. I don't know if you can miss this one, in my opinion, at least. And then they're talking about trading the pick for guys like Kevin Durant and all. And no disrespect to Kevin Durant, at least. No, trust me, I'm trying to be a legit sports podcast, at least. No, so I'm not saying Kevin Durant's a terrible player or anything like that. The man's a Hall of Famer, multiple-time gold medalist, at least, for the Olympics and all. You can argue probably the best, greatest, Olympic player of all time, honestly. If you're just looking at stats right there with Carmelo Anthony and all, too, as well. I'm pretty sure he leads in, like, total points now based on these past Olympics and all, too, as well. But still, why are you trading? You have a young player. You have a chance for a young franchise player because, from the players that I mentioned and all, they missed on Jason Tatum. They had the number 1 pick, could have had Jason Tatum and chose Markelle Fultz over Jason Tatum. At least not could have kept where were they? Yeah, could have stayed at 3. Let the Celtics do whatever they want. At least got Jason Tatum there. At least but they chose to make that trade. At least now. There we go. Tracy McGrady comps are being compared to Ace Bailey, at least. Now, I know I get flack for comparing Jason Tatum to Tracy McGrady there, but the man does have more points over the first 27 or first I was gonna say age, at least, 27 years, but his first 7 to 8 years seasons in the league, at least, not at age 27 and all too as well, and has more points, if not just as many points as Tracy McGrady, at least. If you're adding both playoff and regular season, I'm pretty sure he surpassed them. But I'm just talking regular season. I'm pretty sure he's right there with like 12 and change, like 12,700 and all. Well, I believe Tracy McGrady's like at 13,000 points and all too as well. But yeah, the Philadelphia 76ers are considering trading this pick for an older player in Kevin Durant, which I think they're going to do, at least. If it's not Kevin Durant, it could be somebody else, at least. But I'd just be so surprised if the Philadelphia 76ers doing something right with this pick. And the reason why I make a big deal about them just drafting, because even though I've been dissing their past picks, at least, the past couple picks over the past couple seasons have been pretty dope. When you look at Maxey, at least, and Jared McLean, unfortunately not finishing this season, I think would have been a top candidate, if not one of the top 3 candidates for Rookie of the Year this year if he stayed healthy this year. He came on quick compared to any other rookie. Stephon Castle came on in the middle of the season. Kind of took him a little bit to get going. But Jared McLean was on as soon as he was on the court, at least. Unfortunately, I think he had an ACL injury that ended his first season, at least, with the Sixers, at least. So they've drafted, you got Tyrese Maxey, too, as well, which I understand some people don't put him in, a true superstar type of situation too as well. But when I look at Jalen Brunson doing what he's doing, at least, not even though Jalen Brunson's been doing that for basically his whole career, starting at Villanova. Well, not starting there, but really, yeah, showing out at Villanova because he won a couple national championships, at least, and all. With the size, at least, with Tyrese Maxey, Darius Garland, even though with his, his exploits in the playoffs this year, still, though, was on the top end basketball team, at least. That's why I kind of like Tyrese Maxey and what they got going on there. Jared McLean, maybe you can play him at guard, starting, starting there at 2 guard or have him at point guard, have Maxey at the 2 guard at least. But I like what they got going with those 2 guards. It just shows that they actually drafted some legit basketball players, in my opinion, compared to any other basketball players that they had in the past, at least, and all too as well. For what's going on with the Philadelphia Sixers organization, I'm looking for a superstar, at least. I'm not trying to knock those players from the past, at least, and all too as well. But it seems like Tyrese Maxey is stepping in, into a leadership role. If you listen to like the rumors going out to the season of him calling out Joel Embiid being late for practice and meetings and stuff of that nature, at least, and all, seems to be stepping into a leadership role compared to any of those players I just mentioned, like Ben Simmons and even currently Joel Embiid and all. They haven't showed leadership skills, at least. And even Jared McLean too as well gets flack for the nail polish thing, and I even heard that he's opening his own brand, at least, with the whole nail polish thing too as well. But still, even with that type of flack and all too as well, was still able to perform at a high level, at least, in the first 20 or so games, at least, of the season before he got hurt, at least, compared to Joel Embiid and all too as well, who has his exploits out in social media and doing things of that nature too as well, never seems to respond on the court, at least, and all too as well. So I think the way things are going drafting wise, I would keep the 3rd pick with the Philadelphia 76ers, but I'd be shocked if they kept the 3rd pick. I expect them to trade it for a guy like Kevin Durant, honestly, send Paul George somewhere else, honestly, and actually think that he could be a Band-Aid, at least. I think that'd be a terrible situation for Kevin Durant, at least and all too, as well as the team currently in the playoffs right now. Would love him on right now, but they're not eliminated, so let me not presume too much, at least on the show, at least and all, but still. The atrocity for me beginning this whole like rant about the NBA draft lottery, at least and all. Even though the Dallas Mavericks and their trade with the Luka Doncic and all, and it's very suspicious of them having the number one pick and all. And ironically, with the number one pick, they had like what a 1.8 chance or 1.6 chance of getting the number one pick compared to last year, where the lowest odds were last year with the Atlanta Hawks with a 3% chance of getting the pick, at least. Now I went over the odds too as well. There's no way they're gonna let a team with less odds, the Atlanta Hawks, at 3%, because the highest odds, at least, were 14% between what the Jazz, the Wizards, and maybe the Hornets, at least, and all too, as well. Them getting the high odds, and look at them, they're not even in the top three. Neither of them are in the top three, at least. I think it's hilarious, honestly, too, as well, because it is rigged. I don't know how you look at something like that from what I was just saying about Luka Doncic, biggest trade going down probably in NBA history, at least, and all, and the team that got rid of the players now sitting there as the number one pick, and they had a 1% chance to get the number one pick, at least, and all, too, as well. So it definitely is odd, but I think what's odder and more of an atrocity is the Philadelphia 76ers getting the number 3 pick in this draft after their season. They were supposed to be a top end team this year. They're supposed to be in the conference finals right there with the Indiana Pacers or the New York Knicks, at least, and all. And look at them. Couldn't even make the playoffs, at least, and all, too, as well. That's why I dignified them being a loser to begin this season, at least, because to think that Paul George is going to save you, real shit. If, what's it called? Like I said, they need to develop their team where Maxey could be the head of the snake and everyone follows suit, at least. No, nope. They wanted to follow through with the whole Joel Embiid thing. We're not playing back-to-backs. They couldn't even pull that off, right? And the man wasn't even ready to play basketball this season based on his knee. Based on the way he looked with his knee in the Olympics last summer, at least, and then going into the season, having a big old brace on it, too, as well. It's just not how the way you want to start your season with a big old brace on your knee, and it's not healthy. You know what I mean? It's not like it's just no excuse. I don't care. It's an 82-game season. You shouldn't have a big old knee brace to begin the season. So I'm not a fan of the Philadelphia 76ers getting the top 3 pick and all. The Spurs, at least, and all. Wouldn't surprise me if they trade their number 2 pick too as well. Another like show of it being rigged, at least, and all, too, as well. How many times have the Spurs been in the top 3, at least, in dope drafts too as well, since Duncan, we're talking, and then Victor, at least, and all, too, as well. You want to put David Robinson in there, fine, but that's like way back, at least, and all. But as of late, at least, these niggas are in the top 3 of the draft, at least, and all. This time 2 compared to a couple years back with Wemby, they got number 1, at least, and all, too, as well. But another point to show that this thing is rigged, at least, and all. And I'm fine with, and it's funny, I'm fine with Dallas being the number 1 pick, but I just got problems with the Spurs are fine because they're talking about making the trade. There's a rumor. These are rumors what I'm throwing out, at least, and all. This is not me having any type of sources or anything like that, but at least the Spurs are talking to the Nets, bringing in Cam Johnson, look like a youthful addition. I'm sure more than just Cam Johnson, but a youthful addition to your team, at least, compared to Kevin Durant, who, as you can see with the Brooklyn Nets and the Phoenix Suns, at least, I thought they could use him as patchwork and just throw him in there because he's a Hall of Fame type of caliber player, but he isn't that type of player to be playmaking for the teammates, at least. If you got other playmakers and other things going around, and he's there to spot it up, shoot, and do his thing from time to time, at least, hey, works in my opinion. But if you're looking him to be the savior of your team at this point of his career, he's not Curry or LeBron James even at their age at this point of his career. So I have a huge problem with the Sixers already rumored to be in that position with the Phoenix Suns, at least, and all. It makes sense if you want to bring in Booker and get rid of Maxey and McClain, maybe give up the whole youth movement, which I have a huge problem with again with Philadelphia and going old, at least, and all. But I can just see that happening, at least, now with Philly and all. But the Spurs, at least, now, again, I just like what they're doing. I like the rumors, at least, I should say, of them maybe, because I don't sit in the draft number 2. Dylan Harper seems to be that player, at least, and all. And you just traded for De'Aaron Fox, at least, and all. I don't know where Dylan Harper's going to sit there and grow when De'Aaron Fox was just playing with potentially the Eastern Conference MVP right now, playoff MVP right now, and Halliburton, and all. We'll definitely get into that. But they were just playing together and all, and they had to trade one or the other and all, too, as well. I don't know how that's going to work with San Antonio. I know probably a better program than Sacramento, But still, I can't see that working over there too as well. So I do expect them to trade that number 2 pick. But I have more confidence that they're able to add more, just better, what's it called? Just better parts to their, better parts to their squad, to add to what they're doing to their youthful, what they got going with the Wembys, with the Stephon Castle, who won Rookie of the Year this year too as well. Honestly, you still got young guys like Kendall Johnson too as well. Kendall or Keldon Johnson, I should say, honestly, too, as well. Devin Vassell, too, as well, honestly. Sohan, too, as well. They got a whole bunch of young players. De'Aaron Fox is on the young side, too, as well, as a veteran, at least, but still, a couple of years away from 30, at least, too, as well. So they got something going. I trust, if you add the Cam Johnson, a couple parts that the Brooklyn Nets have over there, too, as well, honestly. Talking about a legit basketball team, honestly, too, as well. Look how deep at the teams that are 3-1 right now in the conference finals right now, probably going to the finals and over in the next couple of days at least. And also, I would like that youth movement for the Sixers to do, especially with a pick that's guaranteed being pretty damn good, honestly, compared on your past top picks at least. On not one of them has worked out to get you to a conference finals at least on two as well, based on your Maxey drafting, based on your McClain drafting too as well. I'm probably sleeping on another young player too as well on their team right now too as well. They probably traded away. Jaden Springer was on their team. They traded, probably was a second round draft pick still though, but still, yeah, even he was pretty dope on my NBA Finals team last year too as well. Honestly, as a slight contributor at least on two as well. But it seems like they're drafting better over the past couple seasons. Why not captivate or cap it with an Ace Bailey pickup more than Ace Bailey's looking like a comp to Tracy McGrady and all. Tracy McGrady's not too far off to Kevin Durant. Why would you trade for the old one? Why not trade for the younger one at least? In my opinion, develop it too as well. Even though I just dissed Joel Embiid and all for not making the conference finals. I mean, it has put up numbers at least, so you can put that into Ace Bailey too as well as a development plan too as well. Honestly, so. Flabbergasted that the NBA wanted to give the Sixers raffle the chances or anything like that. Like no, handpick the Sixers to be the number 3 pick at least, which I have a problem with more than the Dallas Mavericks who traded their best white player and to get the next best white player and all too as well. I don't even have a problem with that. I expected Con Knipple to go to Dallas. At least now they're getting Cooper Flag. At least not too. So I knew they were going to get their white hope back. At least not just not this big. At least not that sway either. Honestly. It's pretty odd, honestly. So we'll see how these teams shake out at least, because I think on Shams Charania, the new power vacuum, the new power source of the NBA at least, did say that this could be a crazy summer, and I tend to agree. Just based off these 3 teams at least and all, you would think something big is coming from one of these 2 at least. You would think probably Dallas stays the same. They had Cooper Flag and they see what happened there at least. When this Kyrie come back and all, their hopes of Kyrie not coming back anytime soon at least, you would have thought their season was over. If you're adding the best player in the draft at least and all, and I've been, I believe this is a top heavy draft at least with like superstars at least. I still think it's a deep draft where you can have some dope role players at least compared to like the whole draft in 24 is basically role players. I feel like it's top heavy in the sense where the top 4 or 5, maybe 6 guys can be superstars. Maybe find a little diamond in the rough from like 7 to 14, but I feel like from 15 to the end of the first to maybe the middle of the second round, you have some like chances of getting some cool role players on your team at least. I love this draft and how deep it is at least too as well. So again, that's why I feel like these guys are cheating. You know what I mean when it comes to the I froze the camera real quick, my bad. But for how deep the draft is at least, you would have thought these teams like at least, especially Philadelphia, but with teams, but all 3 of them honestly too as well. These are 3 teams even without a draft pick in the top like 4 or 5 could make the playoffs next year too as well. Philadelphia just needs to get healthy. Spurs all teams just need to get healthy honestly too as well. They all have their MVP caliber player on their team. At least when we talk about the Dallas Mavericks with Anthony Davis, I know some people wouldn't want to say that, but if he's engaged and all that, he is an MVP caliber player, at least a defensive player of the year type of candidate. Spurs with obviously, the future of Wemby at least not too as well, face of the league type of thing, has MVP qualities too as well, and obviously Embiid has won an MVP. I still got my knocks about him in the playoffs at least, but still can have a team as a perennial playoff team going into it at least, as a top 1 to 5 seed at least not too as well. So, but yeah, you think in a deep draft like this, you would think those type of teams would be more towards the bottom and get yourself a cool role player or 2 at least. But to have them at the top for these top talented guys at least, my top heavy like metaphor at least It's a travesty, honestly, too, as well. So I think it's enough NBA draft lottery. Do I have the timestamp or something like that? I don't even know how long I went on that stuff, but I think it's enough of that. Let's get into the NBA playoffs, at least. And yes, I am disappointed that my Boston Celtics lost in 6 games to the Knicks, and all. And for my explanation, for some people out there too as well think I'm avoiding it, and all too as well. I do think we were one-dimensional against the Knicks and all, based on our success in the regular season. We did rely on the outside shot and all. There was, in the first 2 games, we blew 20-point leads and all too as well. Still stunning to me, but still, I think our team was so one-dimensional in those games, especially in the first one where we took 63s and all too as well. I do say health is the big reason why, because of Kristaps Porzingis quote unquote being available. I didn't think he was playable anyway, but him being out there, I still think they relied on him being the post option more than adjusting and relying more on Jaylen Brown, more on Jason Tatum to be post guys too as well. Honestly, I don't hate it when you look at it hindsight wise too as well, because Jason Tatum ruptures his Achilles. My man Jaylen Brown's playing on a partially torn meniscus, at least, and all too as well. Got to see him pretty close by too as well. The 7-4 we won event when I was in Boston this past weekend too as well. Pretty cool moment, at least. If I wasn't cheap, probably would have had a face-to-face moment, at least, and all too as well. But I wasn't ready to spend like over $100 on merchandise and all too as well. No offense, Jaylen Brown. No offense, maybe in the future, at least, and all too as well. But still, but yeah, that was cool. That was cool just to see that this past weekend too as well in Boston. But still, to have those two players dealing with those type of injuries too as well, it's hard for me to ask more from them when they couldn't even get out of the second round and all with clean without a clean bill of health, at least, and all too as well. So I think health is a big factor why the C's were that one dimensional and all too as well with their shooting, not looking to go into the post a lot more too as well. Drew Holiday's an option, and he was dealing with a hamstring. Yeah. He already had the pinky injury fractured pinky going into the fractured pinky going into the playoffs, at least not too, but did have a hamstring injury during the Orlando series, and kind of did affect him too as well, because we really didn't see much of him impact wise in the obviously in the Orlando series, because he didn't play much of it, and then not much in the Knicks series too as well, honestly. So my Celtics definitely, I think health was a big contributing factor in why they were down already 0-2, at least, and all, and were never to get themselves back into the series, at least, and all too as well. So props to the Knicks, at least for that series, at least, and all. I'll give them more of their props too as well throughout the what they're doing in the playoffs, at least, and all. But you have to give them props, because to what I was saying about the C's relying on at least relying on the perimeter too much. That's how they dominated the Knicks throughout the first 4 games, at least. And you got to give the Knicks credit. They eliminated having their bigs in the drop, at least, and all. They did switch. They weren't trying to keep the same players on the same offensive players. The same defensive players and the same offensive players. They were willing to switch and make sure they had their opponent in front of them, at least, and all too as well. So that was the switch that they did, at least, and all. And again, with Kristaps Porzingis, there but not there. The C's, at least transitioning into the post, was really lacking, in my opinion, honestly, too, as well. Healthy Porzingis, in my opinion, you get some healthy, points in the post, at least. I feel like if I look back in this series, really there was never a time where the C's were in the post, at least, too, as well. If Kristaps was at least a bit more healthy from this illness he's has been dealing with, I should say. Because it seems like he's been dealing with it since February, at least, and all, too. But what's it called there? But yeah, it's because of that. I feel like it really knocked the C's off looking for a post-game, turned them one-dimensional, and they really relied on the perimeter, at least, and all too as well. So big part to why the Knicks won that series and all too as well. Their clutch playing in the fourth quarter too as well. Big part to why they won that series too as well. So yeah, credit to them. Can't say much about them. I do have some shit to say eventually too as well about them, but about their fans more. But nah, definitely credit to how they played basketball in that series and all. Completely dominated Boston, even with me being in New York and being outside in Manhattan for for their Game 6 win, at least, and on the early parts. Definitely not there for the later parts, because the later parts look scary, from a Celtics perspective. And I'll look at the Pacer fan that caught that heat, and now look at them now with the Pacers being up 3-1 and all. But yeah, I keep trying to mention that series and all. But before I get into that, the Pacers, at least, not being the Cleveland Cavaliers, 4-1, completely dominating when you look at it, honestly, even though the Cavs had a dominating Game 3 win, at least, and all. But really thoroughly dominated the Cavs, at least, and all. The Cavs, to me, I've never trusted the Cavs defense, and I think it just really showed that, honestly, too, as well. Honestly, it is hard to stop the Pacers, at least, and all, too, as well. But you would think the rep that the Cleveland Cavaliers defense was getting, you would think they could at least keep up with the Pacers at times. And there were games the Pacers were able to start and just get going. There was, I think, what they have 80 points with like 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter at least, or 2 minutes left in the second quarter of the first half, end of the first half at least and all. And when in game 4 against the Cleveland Cavaliers, those are the things I've been knocking about their defense at least and all, that they were just allowing the Pacers to do whatever they want offensively. When you look at the Pacers against the Knicks at least, it's been a bit of a struggle and all. I'll get to that series real quick. I'm just really trying to get there, but with at least the Pacers facing the Cleveland Cavaliers and all, I just feel like Cleveland's defense, even with their, you can argue health too as well, of why they lost that series too as well. I'll definitely say game 2. Health really was a big reason why they lost that game, at least and all too as well, against the Pacers and all. But Pacers just thoroughly dominated and all. Their offense wasn't great, at least and all, but they had their streaky moments, at least and all, especially at the end of games, in the first 2 games, at least and all too as well. Really took off in the second half of the series, but just thoroughly dominated the Cleveland Cavaliers and all. I just think the Cleveland's defense was, I just think their big detriment. I get the health part, but I feel like they had some sort of a defense just because it'd been a longer series. Still gave you the Pacers winning it because of maybe the health thing and all, but I think the big part of why that series didn't play out the way it didn't play out for Cleveland is because of their defense and their lack of defense at the wing position too as well, honestly. But let me get into the conference finals at least, because we got the Pacers up 3-1 on the New York Knicks at least too as well. Not too surprising because I really think this is a bad matchup for the Knicks at least for how the Pacers just play, ironically, with their name at least with the pace that they play with. I just think it's hard for the Knicks to keep up with it. They're more of a half-court team and all too as well. They've found ways of slowing the game down, but it's not based on the way they usually play basketball, at least all too as well. We're talking about Jalen Brunson needs to have the ball less for them to play more as a cohesive unit, at least all too as well. It can work. It has worked to help them win game 3. Game 3 towards the end, at least not with Towns. They've had their moments of dominance. Not dominance, but moments of just playing half-court basketball, slow-down basketball, at least and all. It seems like when Jalen Brunson's in the game does tend to change, at least and all. Just based off the way he plays, he's more of a dribble player. It's not a bad thing. Some people want to call him a ball hog. It's not that. It's just the way he gets going, at least and all, too, as well with his offense. And all. I have seen them showed the ability to adjust at least. I think he showed it big time against the Detroit Pistons too as well, honestly. But even against the Celtics too as well, I thought he did a good job with that. He didn't really have a big, big Brunson game, like a 35-point game at least, too as well, taking 23, 25 shots or something like that. Didn't really see that against the C's at least. I think you're seeing it more because the Pacers aren't a defensive team at least. They have their situational moments of playing good defense at least. That's what I've been giving them credit for throughout the playoffs at least. But throughout the game, their defense isn't great at least. So it does lend for Jalen Brunson to dribble and look for a shot at least and it kind of does. I think it does sink into the Indiana's game plan of having Jalen Brunson being the guy at least. I'll take away Towns, take away Bridges, take away Anunoby at least too as well, and it's worked at least because Anunoby and Bridges have been fairly inconsistent in this series compared to the Celtics series, where maybe they had a bad game but would come back and have a big game or a big stretch at least in that next game at least I haven't seen Bridges much at all. I feel like Anunoby had a stretch in game 2 at least when they got that 17. It was a game 1, maybe game 1, when he was part of that stretch when they had that 17-point lead, but the Pacers walked them down in the fourth quarter at least and they end up losing that game in game 1 at least but they've really been far inconsistent compared to the past 2 series where they maybe have a bad game and come back with a good game at least. They haven't been consistent, and it's probably what they're guarding at least because they're dealing with guys like Pascal Siakam. What's another one? Obi Toppin at least too as well. Ben Mathurin finally showed out too as well. Honestly, Aaron Nesmith had that big game or big fourth quarter in game 1 at least too as well. So there have been guys at the wing and guard position that have probably given them some trouble defensively, and it's probably affecting their offensive game just a bit more too as well. But this is really about the Pacers at least too as well. Their pace is the reason why they're winning this series and all too as well. No defense there at least. I will give them situationally. Their defense has stepped up, especially Tyrese Halliburton, who had himself a great, awesome game and all too as well. Probably your best game in NBA history, player-wise at least all too as well. Let's get the stats up real quick. Can I get it? Will they show it to me? Let me see if I can. Okay, here we go. Box score. Bear with me. If you guys are listening, if you guys are watching, you see my struggle. You see the struggles. Just trying to get Tyrese Halliburton's stats. He had some great stats last night. There it is. Excuse me. 32 points, 15 assists, 12 rebounds, and the best thing about it, Zero turnovers from your boy, at least not two as well. Better game than Gangstalicious and all. And I'll get to who Gangstalicious is at least not, but still had himself a great game. You can argue probably the best game in playoff history and all. Just outside of his production, having zero turnovers, honestly, it's just an impressive thing to see, honestly, from a guard, at least not two as well, who has the ball in his hands every possession that he's out on the court, at least not for his team, at least not. So just a great game for Tyrese Halliburton. He does get knocked for not being aggressive. Well, 32 points, 20 points I think he had in the first half. Pretty ultra aggressive when you look at least not two as well. Yeah, I don't. Let me see. Yeah, there's the box score. I want to get the box because he was lit from 3-2 as well. Kind of slowed down a bit in the beginning of the second half at least, but was able to pick it up against in the second half against the Knicks at least. But what was it? Yeah, 5 for 12. I thought he hit 5 threes. I wasn't sure, but hit 5 threes at least. But was really hot in the beginning. Slowed down a bit, but I think he hit a couple. I think one or two. No. Yeah, must have hit a couple big ones. Yeah, in the second half, probably the fourth quarter at least, too as well. I think he started like 3 for 5 at least, but he started chucking in the end of the first into the second half at least, so the numbers looked pretty bad after that too as well. But still, had himself a great game. The zero turnovers are just awesome, man. He played 37 minutes too as well and had zero turnovers, man. It's just an awesome game too as well. Honestly, plus minus, yeah, plus 16 for his team too as well. Honestly. 5 for 6 at the free throw line, right? Yeah. He was awesome. Great game for Tyrese Halliburton. Great culmination. His pops was finally allowed. If I didn't speak about it, his pops was suspended, I guess, and all too as well, for getting into the court against Giannis and had some type of overrated thing with him with a towel on him and all too as well. But was finally allowed back in the building, in the suite at least. They won't let him back on the floor. I kind of figured that they'll never let him back on the floor for the rest of the season, at least not too as well. But able to be in the suite, which is deserved, at least not his pops. It's not a big deal what happened there too as well, honestly. The man was what's it called, ranked the most overrated player in the NBA, which I was startled by, honestly, too as well. Like, you can honestly argue a hamstring injury is the reason why he slowed down last year too as well, honestly. So credit to him. Pacers are up 3-1. Look like they're going to the finals, honestly, too as well. Again, I'm not too surprised, honestly. Again, if there was a threat in the Eastern Conference as a Celtics fan I was going to be worried about it from a team, it was the Indiana Pacers, because they gave us the toughest series last year. Even though we swept them, every game outside of Game 2 was close. At least when you go look at the NBA Finals, I think it's Game 1, Game 2 were close at least and all. I don't think so. You know what I mean? I give the Mavericks credit, at least not Luka. Luka was bad in the fourth quarter of those games, at least not even Kyrie too. There we go. I think that's why I wasn't too worried. Kyrie and Luka just didn't play well in those fourth quarters, at least not. Especially Kyrie, he didn't have great games, at least not too as well. When we talk about the Pacers, when we were facing them last year as a Celtics fan, so I'm saying we. But when we were facing them last year, at least and all. What's it called there? Tyrese showed up. Nembhard showed up. Nesmith had moments at least. Pascal Siakam showed up. They had some games at least. Where you look, they should have won that game. You know what I mean? When you look at Game 1, they should have won that game. When you look at Game 3 and Game 4, they should have won that game. You know what I mean? When you look at the Dallas Mavericks series, outside of Game 4, where they thoroughly dominated us, we never felt that way, where they had a control or command of the game, at least not too as well. I think we basically had leads of through games 1, 2, 3, and 5 at least and all too as well. Maybe Dallas had an early lead, but they never really had a lead in the second half of any of those games at least. When we look at the Pacers, in games 1, 3, and 4, they had leads. You know what I mean? Mind you, the last 5 minutes of those games too as well, they had leads at least on two as well. So I've always given and they didn't have Ben Mathurin playing games 3 and 4. Tyrese Halliburton didn't play too as well, honestly. So this is a team that was dealing with injury too as well. Nembhard was a year younger. Ben Shepherd was a rookie at that time. They were giving him minutes too as well, honestly. And Nesmith was finally playing some first time he's playing some real playoff minutes and all too as well, because he never played playoff minutes as a Celtic and all for his first, for his stint here when he first started his career at least and all too as well. So the Pacers, to me, them making the finals is not too surprising and all too as well. Not at all, honestly, too as well. Like, if there was another team I was worried about making some noise in the Eastern Conference, it was the Indiana Pacers. based on what they did last year. They got better this year too as well, especially defensively, situationally at least, not ultimately, but situationally they got better defensively and all. You see now everyone sees because they're on the prime time now. They do run an 8 to 10 man rotation too as well. They'll go deep. Now they're playing a guy named Tony Bradley because of his size and all too as well for Mitchell Robinson, but he's playing his role and he's doing it well too as well, honestly. So they're having themselves a great run. They are the best team in the Eastern Conference this year and all, even though, in the playoffs this year, even though they're going to the finals, just based on their record, they haven't gone past 5 in any of their series, I think, too, as well. Yeah, they've won 4-1 in the first 2 series and all. They're in a position to win 4-1 in New York, too, as well. And the way they've been up in every game this series, at least, on too, as well. I think last night was the first time they finally didn't get going offensively, at least, not. But in every other game, they've had themselves a double-digit lead, at least, not against the Knicks, at least, compared. My Celtics had similarly the same thing, at least, through the first 5 games. They've always had a double-digit lead on the Knicks. We just kept getting hurt. They took advantage, at least, Then the Pacers looked like they're just getting stronger and stronger when Ben Mathurin didn't even show up over the first, couple games, first 3 games, and then he had himself 20 points in, 11 minutes? What do you have? What do you have? I think I'm still here. Yeah, 12 minutes. The man had 20 minutes. He had 20 points at least on 2 as well. Showed up big time. And Nemhard still hasn't showed out. He showed up big time for the Pacers in the playoffs last year. Could be a big game coming up for him in Game 5 and all too as well. So what the Pacers got going right now too as well, just big things right now. Yeah, Thomas Bryant didn't even play. He's been the guy they've been playing. They put in Tony Bradley and all. Had himself a cool catch from an assist from Tyrese Halliburton too as well towards the end of the game last night too as well. So Pacers are on a run. Look like the hottest team in basketball. Oh, not they are the hottest team in basketball right now too as well compared to what the teams are doing on the Western side too as well. And all. So that's what we got going on in the conference finals. Look, the Pacers are going to be doing their thing and all. We got a 3-1 series too as well with a less favorite of a team of mine, the OKC Thunder at least, but they're up 3-1 against the Minnesota Timberwolves and all too as well. They got past a great series that I can't argue, at least not against the Denver Nuggets and all too as well, beating them in 7 in a turnover riddled game for the Denver Nuggets at least all too as well. When you look at the T-Wolves the other night, at least, when they had themselves like 20 turnovers in the game. 20 turnovers in the game against the Thunder, at least in the basketball game, and had chances of winning the game and only lost by 2. That Game 7 where the Nuggets had like 25 turnovers ended up being a complete blowout and not even close of a contest and all. When we make a big deal about Game 7 and all, that was not a Game 7 that you would want to watch, at least not too as well. I ended up being in New York for that game and a whole bunch of Denver Nugget fans at the bar that I was at, and they were definitely disappointed about that result too as well. So, but it was a great series and all. Went 7 games at least and all. Pivotal games, I think. What were the pivotal games? After game like 3? I'm trying to think. Yeah, because Denver Nuggets won Game 3 in overtime. Game 4, OKC came back, won a dope game. I think it was a short rest too as well. Not because of short rest, but because of short rest, it wasn't a high-scoring game at least. So they ended up winning that game, tying the series. They went up 1, winning Game 5, and then the Denver Nuggets won Game 6 at least and all. And then that dominating performance by the Thunder in Game 7 and all too as well. I would attribute the switching of coaches at least not to that high turnovers at least not too as well. Maybe they lost their composure at least not too as well. Not having a stable. I'm not saying they're stable. Their coach wasn't stable. What's his name there? David Alleman was their interim coach. They just gave him a contract. He's going to be their long-term coach going forward, at least not too as well. So it's not that. Just more of a preparation type of thing too as well. No different from Missoula looking as bad as he did in 23, being down 0-3 to the Miami Heat, at least not too as well. It's just lack of preparation too as well. Honestly, when you put in a situation you weren't prepared for 8 months prior and all too as well, compared to other teams that prepared going into that 8 months that you just started, at least not too as well. So that's what I'm coming at with that, or maybe that kind of contribute to the high turnovers for the Nuggets, why they never found their composure. Because even though the Timberwolves had their 20 turnovers in Game 4 against the Thunder, now they're at least in the basketball game against the Thunder and all too as well. Compared to the Nuggets, they were nowhere close into that basketball game. And to the T-Wolves and how they got here, they beat the Warriors in 5 games and all. Curry got hurt after Game 1 and all, so it was basically over from there, at least and all too as well. They weren't dominating. thoroughly at least and all. I do give him credit for cleaning out the series sooner than making it go 6 or 7 at least and all, and giving Curry a chance to come back at least in that series. But that's how they got past the what's it called? Yeah, the Golden State Warriors to make the Western Conference Finals now. Yeah, the Eastern Conference Finals have been by far the more interesting and more thrilling compared to this one at least and all. The Timberwolves did blow out the Thunder in Game 3, so maybe you thought they can come here and win Game 4, and they showed stretches of doing it. My issue was they were able to get that stop against OKC, but they weren't able to score. The only times they were able to score on OKC when they were down 6, down 9. When I thought, okay, OKC's about to blow them out, but they would come back and get it within 4, get it within 3, but they weren't making that basket to get them, either within 1 or up 1 or tie the game at least. And also, I thought that was a big reason why Minnesota big reason why Minnesota didn't win that game and all. Neil Alexander-Walker showed out. Neil Alexander-Walker showed out at least. No, and Edwards didn't show out, but I don't think he didn't want to. I feel like how OKC defended him. They did a great job defending him at least. No, they took it away from him. Julius Randle, on the other hand, to his numbers at least, no, and the jokes are proceeding at least, no, with him at least, no, which I think is a bit deserved. Because I just think he shot the ball terribly at least, no, too as well. He didn't really have any confidence shooting the ball, and he kept shooting it too as well. So he didn't find any rhythm or confidence for himself at least, no. But Neil Alexander-Walker, from just what I remember standing out, was awesome. Let me bring the game up at least not too as well, because I don't think he was the only one. Oh yeah, Dante DiVincenzo, there it is, was awesome too as well for them in that game too as well. I'll get to the OKC Thunder because Jalen Williams was big for the Thunder in that game too as well, honestly. But just for Minnesota at least and all, what's the box score at least? Cool. Because it was him. Jaden Daniels did show up too. I wasn't sure. Jaden McDaniels too as well showed out honestly. So their others really showed out. Terrence Shannon had himself a great stretch too in the end of the first half too as well for the T-Wolves at least and all too as well. So outside of Ant Edwards and Julius Randle, they did have some great performances and all. Rudy Gobert had his best game too as well honestly. I think he combined all points that he had in the first 3 games of the series and Game 4 at least and all. So they had themselves a great show out. Anthony Edwards, I think the way they were playing defense, they really took away a lot of his shots at least because he was thoroughly dominating them in Game 3 at least when they lost by 40 at least too as well. But you have to give the Thunder credit at least too as well, because the T-Wolves tried to win this game. They showed out big time at least too as well. Julius Randle was just, to me, the only person that didn't show up for the T-Wolves at least It could have been a difference at least too as well. If his head was just in the game at least and that's part of the criticism of Julius Randle throughout his career at least too as well. Where is his head on pause throughout these games at least too as well? Because it just seems like his head wasn't in the game. The shots that he was taking, and he was open for some of them shots. Those are his shots. Maybe a bit contested, but those are his shots. He was hitting them in Oklahoma. You know what I mean? Where were you in that game? If you weren't getting your shot, get yourself more engaged too. It just seemed like he wasn't engaged as you would want him to be and all too as well. But got to give the credit to the Thunder at least and all, as much as I hate to give them credit and all, as a young team just surging through it and all too as well. I did say it would take them a while to figure it out and all, and they figured it out against Denver and all. You can argue it is helping them surge through right now too. With Jalen Williams, I think his best playoff game of his career, at least not with the big shots that he was making. Still a -2, it's plus minus, interesting. But hit some big shots though. Can't even lie honestly too as well. The over helping on Gangstalicious. Yes, I call Shea Gilgeous-Alexander Gangstalicious just for the season and all. His Converse, his Drake music video appearance and all too as well gives me clout too as well about the name at least. No, but still, he is your MVP this year too as well. So applause to him too as well. I can't diss that. But Jalen Williams hit some big shots and all. Like I said, the over pursuing of defending Shea or Gangstalicious, but of defending him at least and all too as well. Did open up some shots for Jalen, and he hit some big shots. Chet Holmgren too as well with his 21 points. He had some big shots too in that fourth quarter for that team too as well, honestly. So what's it called? What, he dropped 40? Yeah, he dropped 40 points too. Yeah, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander even dropped 40 points in that game too as well. So it was just a big clutch game for them too as well, honestly. Minnesota was nipped on their heels. The last 10 seconds of the game, they were still nipping on their heels with the amount of possessions that were still available for them too as well, honestly, to maybe tie the game, if not win the game with a 3 at least not too as well. But yeah, it's nothing you can diss about I'm a type of person that disses OKC and all too as well. I just don't understand how a young team can be in this position too as well, honestly. Can't say it's circumstance or anything like that too as well. Honestly, they have defeated what's in front of them at least and all too as well. Especially a champion team in the Denver Nuggets at least not beating them in 7, outlasting them. You can honestly argue honestly too as well. And you can say Minnesota, they're not to outlast them too as well. Honestly, it'd be interesting how these game fives go. Right, we're on game 5 now. Yeah, be interesting how these game 5 goes. I'd be surprised if both series end both in game 5 at least. No, but we'll see tonight. We're gonna have the Thunder and the T-Wolves face off tonight too as well. Based on how the T-Wolves have played, I think they have a chance of winning Game 5 at least. No, they've played better too as well. Honestly, you can say if they just didn't turn over the ball, maybe they win that game and all. I argue that Julius Randle just needs to show up. You're going to be playing the same type of way, in my opinion, too, as well. Thunder are going to force turnovers and all, too. So you just need your guys to show up and all. And I think you need Julius Randle to show up, at least, too, as well. When everyone's showing up, at least, don't show up when no one's showing up, at least, what she did in game, 1, at least, no one showed up, but you showed up. While everyone's showing you're not showing up. I hate that type of, basketball from individuals sometimes, too. It'll show up when everybody's showing up, and if something's not working, find something else to work, at least, too. Even the Thunder, to the turnover point, and I'm probably going to put this on Julius Randle, too. I hated his turnovers more than any of the turnovers that happened for the T-Wolves throughout that basketball game. You turned your back on a team that are very handsy, at least, too, as well, and you were taking bad shots with no confidence, too, as well. Those are turnovers to me, and I feel like Julius Randle had some turnovers, at least when I look at Nah had a turnover, being aggressive at least and all. And I think had a turnover or two, but he was being aggressive. You know what I mean? In those type of situations, Julius Randle just seems disengaged at least on these calls, causing those turnovers. That's big to me at least on too as well. So can he show up when his other team while his other team players are showing up? I think it's a huge question because he hasn't done it in this series at least and all. He has shown it in these playoffs. I think the time is now if he can show it up. So I think Julius Randle, if everyone else is playing well at Minnesota, can Julius Randle be part of it more than being separate at least? And when I mentioned a team that I would like Kevin Durant to go to, Julius Randle keeps playing like this, Randle out, Durant in. Perfect. It'd be a perfect situation in my opinion if he continues to play like this, because the way he was playing in the first 2 rounds shows why Minnesota could be dangerous at least and all. I would like him to show up when his other teammates are showing up at least and all. Stop doing all the extra baiting for fouls and stuff like that. Just be aggressive at least not too as well. Be engaged at least not too as well. That is my PSA to Julius Randle right now because I was disappointed. I just feel like if he showed up a little bit, if you had some type of engagement, even with their 20 turnovers, the T-Wolves are probably winning that game at least. And I just feel like his lack of engagement, took away from a team that's engaged. As much as I have my doubts and disses about the Thunder, they are an engaged basketball team at least. You can't have the opponent disengaged versus a team against. It's like having a tiger versus a limping deer or something. Come on, bro. That's what what's his name there? That's what Julius Randle was looking like, at least like a hurt individual by how disengaged he looked to me in that game at least not too as well. So we'll see if he can figure it out. I feel like he's a big X factor going forward if the T-Wolves want to keep the series going at least. No, Pacers and Knicks. I don't know if Game 5 is going to be much of a game, at least not too as well. I give the Pacers credit for what they did last year. They are taking advantage. I thought the T-Wolves could take advantage of their run last year, at least and all, from last year and building it up to this year. Series is not over. I'm giving them a chance, at least and all. But the Pacers are on the other side of it, at least. And I just feel like this is a coronation moment for Tyrese Halliburton and that team, honestly, too, as well. The Pops is back. I don't think he'll be at MSG, at least, no, but he is back allowed, you know what I mean? So I do think it's just going to be a coronation moment, honestly. I had the Pacers in 6 anyway in this series, too, as well. I just think it's a bad matchup for the Knicks. Their pace-wise, at least, and all, too, as well. If the Knicks trusted others a bit more, I would like them okay-wise, but I just don't think it's going to happen, at least in all. Tibbs is trying with DeLon Wright playing, at least not too as well, but I just think it's a bit too late, honestly, too as well. I just think the Pacers have looked good throughout this whole series and all. No different from how my Celtics looked against the Knicks, at least and all. At least they're not falling apart compared to how the Celtics were falling apart. And I think they take advantage of having these double-digit leads continuously on the Knicks. And I think they go forward to the NBA Finals, which would be a surprising one because right now Thunder Pacers would be, I think even though I'm hoping the T-Wolves can figure it out at least not too as well, I don't see it. I think the Thunder and the Pacers would be an ultra dope series. I ain't gonna lie, honestly too as well. I'm mentioning pace. I don't even think the OKC Thunder can slow down this pace at least not too as well. This could be a 120, 130 type of scores in the NBA Finals consistently from game one to game whatever, game five, game six, game seven, whoever wants to win this series at least. No, but I liked, even though disappointing that the Celtics didn't make the conference finals, I did like these two matchups. I do think they had a little bit of excitement to both of them. Honestly, I think you've kind of seen it at least not two as well as two. At the T-Wolves gonna win game four, in my opinion, to at least add some excitement to this series and all too as well. I always thought the Pacers could win this series, so that was part of my excitement about it because the Knicks. The Knicks were, I think, the Knicks were favored going into this series. They were the higher seed and all too as well. Yeah, they're pretty much favored because they were favored for the first two home games at least and all too as well. So, one of my Pacers Thunder at least and all. I personally want T-Wolves Pacers at least and all too as well, just for my hating content I can have for Gangsta Delicious at least and all. But props to the Thunder at least and all too as well, even with all that. One win away of going to the NBA Finals themselves, honestly, too, as well. And 4 wins away of winning the whole thing and all, too, as well. So, do I have the time? I don't have my timestamp anywhere. I'm trying to see where I'm timestamped at. But it looks like I hit towards the end, at least, and all, too, as well. So, again, I appreciate you guys listening. I do promise not to have a long hiatus this time, at least. I'm not going anywhere. I'll be up in Atlanta, but life happens, so we'll see what happens and all. But again, I appreciate you guys listening, and we'll talk soon.